Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to Let's Make It Right and a new episode. So, in today's episode, we'll be talking about something different, revealing more secrets, educating ourselves, and sharpening our knowledge regarding the Nigerian history. Okay, so how many of you know this woman on the screen? How many of you are aware about the good works and the good work she did and the secret that she revealed while she was in office? How many of you are even aware about the history that she made during her political, you know, time and appointment? How many of you are aware? Anyways, for those who are not aware and those who don't know who this woman is, I got you. I'm gonna brief you on her history, you know, little informations before we dive deep into what we have for today. All right, so let's get on with it. So, for those of you who don't know who this woman is, I will do that now. Just a few seconds. All right. So this is Professor Dora Akunyili. Um, she was a Nigerian pharmacist, also a politician, and she was the former Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, which is also known as NAFDAC. Okay. Now she was, renowned for her relentless fight against fake drugs and counterfeit, and that was actually motivated due to the death of her immediate sister who took fake medication. So this actually motivated her, you know, to make sure that counterfeit drugs and fake drugs, are eliminated from Nigeria. And at some point in her regime during from 2008 to 2010, it was profoundly, confirmed that the amount of counterfeit drugs and fake drugs we have, being sold by clinics, pharmacies, and all that actually reduced to the barest minimum, which is great and it's a plus to Nigeria. And during her time, she was, one of the most realist, ruthless, uh, hardcore truth sayer. She could go, you know, to the extreme end to ensure that the citizens are aware of all the you know, information regarding the immediate, administration. She's very, very transparent in a general sense. Very, very transparent. But unfortunately, we lost her to, some illness. I think it was a urinary cancer she was battling for 2 years, and she was pronounced dead in 2024. But she was one of the few women in Nigeria who still has, you know, her statue standing tall, just in remembrance of her, transparency during her time in her political appointments, and also to remember her for the beautiful works and great work that she did. She's also a pioneer of democracy. So that will lead us to what we have for today. She will be actually, be opening our eye to some informations that we've been murmuring about or complaining about in regards to the Nigerian government. Okay? So we'll be taking a look into her interview that she did some time ago. And this is one of the beautiful things that, Let's Make It Right bring to you. We go deep, go back in time to ensure that we bring out informations that will help us understand the reason why some political appointed personnel or elected personnel are actually doing the things they are doing, which will help us understand better and make us, you know, make things right by making the right decisions. With no further ado, let's head on to today's interview.
we lied a lot to the public. Government was lying. I suspected that we were lying, but I wasn't too sure. You see, when people tell you, because I was reporting the meetings, when they told us President Yaradua was playing with his children, the stories were not adding up. But when I confirmed that we were being fed with lies.
So at that time, you were not having access to the president?
No. Nobody had access to him once he was flown abroad. Nobody had access. The cabal took over. They were in charge of everything. It was all the president said, Mr. President said. Even when you knew they were lying, you could not be too sure. But when I confirmed that they were lying and confirmed that the president was not in a position to give instructions or sign anything, was when they went to get him sign, was it the bill, National Assembly bill? And when they came back, I started asking questions. You see, when three people say three different things, then you know that they did not come together to agree on a common lie to tell.
So, this is actually the first thing we'll have to talk about because this is a very, very rare thing that you see for politically appointed persons to come to the public and be 100% transparent to letting the public know that some things are wrong. Every Nigerian can remember during the Yaradua administration or Buhari administration, you would realize that during their time of ailment or whenever they are traveling for medication, they usually give some lousy excuses. Sometimes you don't even know. You only hear from the spokesman that, oh, the president travel for medication, they travel for vacation, and maybe they come back in 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months. Only God knows. But in the situation where she was talking about, and that was for Buhari. Oh, sorry, that was for was it Yaradua? That was for Yaradua, sorry. Yes, and that was for Yaradua. She was, elected, or sorry, appointed by Yaradua to be the Minister of Communication and Information. Hence, she's privileged to know so many details and information that a normal or a common politician wouldn't, have access to, right? And during the time that Yaradua was ill, he was flown abroad by, the people around him, the protocols and all that. He went for medication, and subsequently, Nigerians were wondering what was happening with Yaradua, you know, what state of health he was, if he's accessible, if he can make any, declaration or sign any bill into office, to sign any bill or any act. And she at some point discovered that, the people around him were lying. Nobody was being truthful. They weren't transparent. And at some point, Nigerians were also asking these questions and were demanding to know where Yaradua was. But I wouldn't want to go deep into that. Let's hear from the horse's mouth so we can understand better.
One of them said that they stayed in another town and sent the National Assembly document for the president to sign. One of them said, the same person told me, one person said he was downstairs and sent it up for him to sign. And another person told me that he went and saw him, and the ADC and the CSO did not allow him to talk with him, and they gave it to him to sign.
Consistency.
So there was inconsistency, and I concluded that we were being fed with lies, and I was consequently feeding the public with lies. I got disturbed. I got so disturbed that I was not able to sleep anymore.
You see, like I said earlier on, this is the challenges that Nigerians are facing, and every Nigerian is wishing, to get to the point whereby they will have access to this politically appointed or elected person to the extent whereby they can get transparency from them. Or some might wonder why is it that for every administration that come into power, they refuse to give the citizens transparency and accountability. They refuse intentionally. Nobody seems to understand why, but we all know that only corrupt people do this. Is it that the president in the villa gives instruction to those inside the villa or around the villa to ensure that the citizens don't get transparency about the governance, or is it the cabals around the villa that refuses the citizens getting transparency from the governance? That's a question we need to answer, and I don't know who can answer that question either. Let's head on.
Professor, you recently bagged an African award awarded to you in Niger Republic, together with other distinguished African women, for your leadership in NAFDAC and helping to stabilize democracy in Nigeria. Now, this award is coming 4.5 years after you left office. What reflections did that give you?
Well, it actually made me feel that that comfort that when you work with all your heart, with all your might, and putting your best in any situation, people don't forget. Not only in Nigeria, universally. I was actually pleasantly surprised. 4.5 years after NAFDAC and 2.5 years or more after the Ministry of Information. And people are still calling me, not just in Nigeria, but outside Nigeria, to recognize the work we did. I feel honestly very grateful to God and to the good people of Niger Republic, especially the wife of their president who sponsored that award, the president.
I wish every politician, every Nigerian politician can be thinking the way she was thinking then, or can have this orientation of doing their work diligently, regardless of the situation, regardless of what they are facing. They should do their work diligently, because even if after 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, if you did a good work, people will recognize you and they will applaud you for it. But nowadays, politicians, nobody really care. They just do whatever they like and leave office. I just wish every Nigerian president, every Nigerian politically elected or appointed person, anybody at all, anybody can have the same mindset that you do have. And for you Nigerians, this is something you should emulate. You in school, in the bank, any sector you're working, any sector that you're working at all, nurse, medical doctor, engineers, whatever sector you're working, do your work diligently. Even you as a wheelbarrow pusher, you with this shoemaker, you with the sell orange, do your work diligently, because at the end of the day, you don't know who is looking, you don't know who is monitoring, you don't know who is observing or watching you. People will always give you your flowers when you do the right job diligently.
Who was totally in support. There was a word they used for it, and then the organizers and their Ministry of Women Affairs that worked with their First Lady.
Part of the reason for that award was your courage at a critical time of Nigeria. We'll be discussing that in a moment. But obviously, your profile in NAFDAC facilitated your choice into the federal cabinet. How did it happen, considering that you are not a politician?
Well, when I was in NAFDAC, my acceptability in the country became legendary, because people appreciated, they still appreciate what we did. And because of that, President Obasanjo announced that I announced me as the mobilizer of something like that, of Yaradua's campaign. And I didn't like the position because I felt my hands were full in NAFDAC. But because I needed to obey constituted authority and the man that put down his feet to employ me as DG NAFDAC, I joined the campaign as the director of mobilization. So that was actually my first time into going into partisan politics, but going into public service was from when I went into local government position. We can go back to that.
I wanted to know how you got to become a minister.
How I got to become a minister. So after the campaign, the president was sworn in, and when he reshuffled, he made me Minister of Information and Communications. And that was announced after all the oath taking and all the ceremonies. I didn't really expect to be Minister of Information because it's information for me is like 180 degrees away from me. I wanted a critical ministry where I could go and achieve X in 6 months, X in another 3 months, and so on. I'm not saying that
I think you are not the only person that was surprised.
Yes.
How come you were given the ministry portfolio?
From what President Yar'Adua told me, may he so rest in peace, we had image problem, and I was suited in that position to handle information at a time when government was not actually too acceptable to the people. So my acceptability to the people became an asset for government. So that was why I was put in that position. I felt very bad. I must tell you that. And it would have been difficult for me to accept it if I was told earlier. But you know, in Nigeria, it's after the swearing in and everything that this is announced. But I quickly reminded myself with my daughter and the mother-in-law that came to support me and my husband that this is the soul and this information is the soul and image of Nigeria, and I can still be there and make the best out of it. I know that wherever I found myself, I would try to turn around the place, and I encouraged myself. Again, I remembered something that happened 6 months before that.
Only hearing the way she's speaking with all passion, you will know she's the kind of person who dedicates her time to do what she loves doing the best. Despite she not being suitable for that field she was appointed to, she deemed it fit to ensure that she bring her relentless, work ethic into that aspect and make the best out of it. Not every Nigerian, have this quality, or even if they have it, they exhibit it. Not every Nigerian politician would actually go to the length at which she went. Not every Nigerian appointed personnel can actually do all this. This is the kind of person or personality that every country needs, because these kind of people make the country to work. They make the country to be effective. And just because of the way she handled the NAFDAC, as at the time she was, appointed to be the DG of NAFDAC, just because of her work ethics, people trusted her and trusted informations that she was actually giving out after her appointment as the Minister of Information and Communication. Very easy. Do a good work, honest, be transparent, be accountable, and the citizens will trust you. That's all Nigerians need from their politicians, and that's all what they're asking for.
Appointment. My elder sister had a dream that I was made Minister of Information, and I told her she had malaria, that she should go and buy Coartem, because there was no way in this world I could be made Minister of Information. So that dream is called by malaria hallucination.
So did it occur to you that your profile now as somebody that Nigerians respect would be used to kind of mobilize Nigerians?
It didn't occur to me at all. But when I remembered my elder sister's dream, I said, wow, nothing happens without God's approval. So I swung into action. Most of the journalists, most of you didn't want me. You said I was not part of you. And they abused me all over the place, but I didn't listen. I just continued as if nothing was happening. Such that by the time I finished that first part, and when I was reappointed, before I was reappointed, the same journalists that were saying they didn't want me because I'm not a journalist, they were writing to say they wanted me back.
During your tenure as Information and Communications Minister, you brought many programs and slogans to show up Nigeria's image abroad and ensure that Nigerians are patriotic. How would you assess these campaigns that you, good people,
great nation? I would say it's one of the best things that had ever happened to this country. Because it was rebranding that was people-oriented. It was not government-oriented. And in fact, that rebranding is even more popular outside this country than in Nigeria.
How?
In Niger, they are excited about it. Nigerians, this is the first time Nigerians are coming out to say we are indeed good people. and it's a great nation without making any pretense about it. And good people, great nation is still being used in some products. I feel so excited about it. And when you get into Heathrow, the big signboard you see, is it GT Bank? Nigeria, good people, great nation. Does it not lift your spirit when you see it? And I believe that rebranding Nigeria campaign, by the grace of God, could still come back sometime in our lifetime. But even if it doesn't, it will continue to permeate into the system. For the fact that the slogan is still in use will tell you that it's an accepted slogan.
You know, Madam.
And if it was not about slogan, the slogan was just a driving force, remember?
Nigeria, good people, great nation. So, as a Nigerian, even if fit the stereotype that people are portraying us to be, or that negativity people are, wanting to attach to us, do not take it, to heart, because we know we are good people and we know we have, the great people and we're a great nation. Despite we having, some bad eggs that are trying to corrupt the nation and trying to, make us look bad, giving us bad image. But for you as an individual, do the right thing all the time, not just for yourself, not just for your family, not just, for your siblings, not just for your spouse, but also, or most especially, for the nation. Because whatever you do will somehow come back to you, or come back to your family, come back to your country. So whatever field you are, be diligent with your dealings, be transparent, be honest, don't do fraud, don't scam people. By so doing, you're building great integrity for yourself, and the dignity attached to it is compared to none. And if other people see you, or other citizens from other countries, see you portraying these characters, they tend to give Nigeria more respect. So have this back of your mind.
Yes, many a Nigerian critic say, but for the existence of the likes of the parastatals in the Ministry of Information, NTA, Voice of Nigeria, Radio Nigeria, NAN, that the ministry is kind of irrelevant. If not for this kind of intellectual direction, you, and I think to an extent Nweki Jr., tried to give it. Are you also in tune with this, that there is need to reform the Ministry of Information and its role generally?
But they are right. The critics are right. Ministry of Information needs re-engineering. Because if a ministry is not relevant, if a ministry is not speaking to the minds of people's needs, that ministry becomes irrelevant. And that was why I brought in the Rebranding Nigeria campaign, so that Ministry of Information would not just be a ministry of reading news and then reading news, kind of, and analyzing news. And I believe it needs re-engineering. I don't. If I tell you I know how else it can be done, then I will be lying. The only way I felt it could be done was through that rebranding, because if we had continued with rebranding, by now it would have gotten into the nerves and fabrics of this system, whereby people will start actually reassessing the way we assess ourselves. Reorientation, bringing up that spirit of patriotism and going back to bring up those beautiful cultural values and telling the world who we are, because most of the time people tell us who we are. People define ourselves for us instead of us defining ourselves to the world. It was catching on all over. Even in America, they were asking for right to produce our shirts of Nigeria, good people, great nation. Anyway, I believe that that Rebranding Nigerian project was a good program. That was why President Yaradua approved it. And I believe it caught on, and I believe it is still on in one way or the other. For the fact that people are still talking about it means that it's worth discussing and it was worth doing.
Anyways, so this is going to be my advice to this current administration, the Emiloko Tinubu administration. You guys need to listen to this video made by this woman, this interview, and understand that Nigeria needs rebranding, because that's the only way, Nigerians can know the value of Nigeria. And that's the only way, you can instill in the minds of Nigerians and the citizens, the uniqueness of who we are, what we represent, our culture, our traditions, so we can know who we are. Because more of the time, we're always hearing the news. Nigerians are this, Nigerians are that, Nigerians are this, Nigerians are that. And that's not who we are. That's not what we are. That's not what we stand for. And that's not what we represent. So we really need that reform so that the next generation coming, the current generations, will have this in our mind to be able to, tell the world who we are, what we are, so they can know us for ourselves. We should be able to, give out those unique qualities that makes us Nigerians. So this is my advice for you all. And you as a Nigerian, you shouldn't wait for the government to start doing those reforms. You need to start educating yourself about Nigerian history, about Nigerian, culture, uniqueness about it, and also stand for those things that Nigerians are for. So that when people see you, they can recognize you that you're a Nigerian. Do not allow people to define you by things happening in this country. Do not allow people to tell you, oh, you're a scammer just because you're from Nigeria. No, we are more than that. Nigeria has the best engineers in the world, has the best medical personnel in the world, has the best science, specialists in the world. In every field, in every aspect or every field in this world, Nigerians have the best in those fields. And there's this common and popular saying that if you don't find a Nigerian in any particular location in any part of the world, leave that country because that country is not good. That's to tell you how good that we are. That's to tell you how good we are. Let's head back to the interview.
Professor, all your life, you had either been an academic or a technocrat, doing fine and enjoying life. What attracted you to politics?
I was an accidental politician. Let me put it that way. I was a lecturer, and my dream was to become a renowned professor, to make some inventions in the area of drugs. I really wanted to be a world-renowned professor. I dreamt it. So I didn't want to have anything to do with politics. You can't mix wanting to be a renowned politician and professor and politics. My husband used to go to the village to treat patients, so I was going with him. So some weekends, when we visited the village, so a woman or a girl will run to us and say, doctor, me doctor's wife, if you had come last weekend, my child wouldn't have died. That kind of story. So it touched my spirit. I called my husband. I said, why don't you open a clinic so that you can be helping these people? My husband said, what? If you finish treating them, they will say, oh, thank you, Julius. Julius' son has treated us and there's no way we should pay him. We know the father. There is our relation. So how would I train my children if I come to establish a clinic here? I would not make money. So I now started thinking of what to do for the people because there was no hospital there. So I decided to go to the women's meeting and talk to them about an abandoned old building. How do we refurbish this building and make it a hospital? Because people are dying here. They don't have hospital attention. And the women were excited about my proposal because I'm not from there. I'm married there. It's like this woman is not from here. She doesn't have any relation here. And she is so passionate about helping us. So they joined, they contributed money, we finished it, and I went to the men's meeting and pleaded with them to equip it. And what I used to get them was just equip at the theater or the ward or wherever and get your name affixed there and get immortalized, your name, your company, your family or whatever. In 45 minutes, they took up the hospitals. I went to the Onisha market with my husband and the donors, and the hospital was equipped. And Professor B.C. Mosu, the then commissioner for information, was called to help us. He donated some equipment. That was how we established a hospital in the village. And that was how I became a village champion. They now said, oh, this woman is our own. oh, this woman should go to House of Rep, she should go to this, she should go to that. My husband said, no, you are not going anywhere. I don't like women politicians. You're too young for that. Anyway, I wasn't even tempted. I said, I want to be a professor. So I left after the establishment of that hospital. I said, I have finished my work. But thereafter, the village, the opinion leaders led by Chief Dan Obuefi, they were asked to nominate somebody to represent them in the local government. They nominated me. That was how I started my political career. I went to the local government to represent them. They were asked 3 times to represent somebody that would, to nominate somebody that would represent them in state boards. I was nominated 4 times. So that was how in the local government, I served in Health Management Board, I served in Advisory Council, Women Commission. I was the coordinator of Better Life for Anambra State, so I found myself totally immersed in the system.
But
that was how I started.
A masterstroke of your political decision was when you retired as Minister of Information and Communication in a PDP government and sought elect position on the platform of an opposition party, AFDA. Was that a conscious choice or political strategy?
Well, I believed in what I did, and I still believe in what I did. I don't regret anything because nothing happens without God's approval. I was a Minister of Information, and my governor invited me and wanted me to come and help him to seek election and serve my people on a different and of course higher platform. Elective position is better than appointive position. I hope you know that, especially when your people elect you to serve them. So some people did not agree with me, but I believed in what I did. My husband believed in it. I went for the election. I actually won the election. I'm not in the Senate today because of the 180 days expiration of cases. If the case was concluded, I would have been in the Senate. But all the same, that I'm not in the Senate is the will of God.
Madam,
I am not complaining.
You are a very vibrant.
It is the will of God.
You are a very vibrant and vocal person in Nigeria's political landscape, well known to everybody. Mm-hmm. But are you still in politics? Do you still nurse politics?
So even as lenient, smart and outspoken with the works that she has done, Nigeria still happened to her. This country go want you, but no panic. It go want you. I'm really surprised because with the kind of profile she has built for herself, coming out to represent her constituency, and the citizens actually voted her in. Then it was annulled or disputed. They went to court, and because of the constitution that we have, which has some clauses stating that about 100 and something days, if the case is not concluded, then that means she's completely removed from the senatorial seat, which means another person has to be in that seat. Wow. Ninja. So they play this woman like Messi, playing like Ronaldo. And she's even she's really, really positive about it, talking about it's all God's plan. I believe that she wants peace and she didn't want to fight back or try to, do things. But I know that all those things were done by the opposition parties, those manipulation was done by the opposition parties just to remove her from that seat. How many good people do we have like this? Just imagine she made it to the Senate. Imagine the kind of, bills she should have introduced to be passed on, because definitely she will be voted for the Senate president. Definitely, with the kind of work that she's doing, definitely. So they wouldn't allow someone like her to even come into the Senate at all. If not, she will expose everybody there. And yeah.
Ambition, you've been quiet for some time now.
Oh, I'm very much in politics. I am very much in politics. I still not political ambition. And if it is the will of God, I will run again for the Senate.
But some people are saying that the people you fought in NAFDAC were the ones that fought you back.
Oh, they fought me back, but that was not why I lost. Even with all the money they put into that election to make sure that I did not get it, I still won. If I did not win, they should have allowed the case to be concluded on time so that the judges would count the votes from every polling booth and find out who had the majority votes. But yes, you're right. They contributed money, they helped, they did everything over their dead body. But it is not because of them. It is the will of God.
You were a major participant when Nigeria was kind of at a crossroads. Later, Adua was ill, and then we were neither here nor there before the Senate resolution. You came out, and it's now popular across Nigeria, the so-called cabal. Can you just give us an insight into that, and why did you decide to speak about it?
That was why, part of the reason why I was honored in Niger Republic. For the organizer called me Heroine of Democracy. And
part of the award you were
part
given
of the award.
In Niger.
There was a lot of emphasis on NAFDAC, but there was also a little emphasis on what happened during the last months of President Yaradua. May he so rest in peace. What happened during that period was that we lied a lot to the public. Government was lying. I suspected that we were lying, but I wasn't too sure. You see, when people tell you, because I was reporting the meetings, when they told us President Yaradua was playing with his children, the stories were not adding up. But when I confirmed that we were being fed with lies.
So at that time, you were not having access to the president?
No. Nobody had access to him once he was flown abroad. Nobody had access. The cabal took over. They were in charge of everything. It was all the president said, Mr. President said. Even when you knew they were lying, you could not be too sure. But when I confirmed that they were lying and confirmed that the president was not in a position to give instructions or sign anything, was when they went to get him sign, was it the bill, National Assembly bill? And when they came back, I started asking questions. You see, when three people say three different things, then you know that they did not come together to agree on a common lie to tell. One of them said that they stayed in another town and sent the National Assembly document for the president to sign. One of them said, the same person told me, one person said he was downstairs and sent it up for him to sign. And another person told me that he went and saw him and the ADC and the CSO did not allow him to talk with him and they gave it to him to sign.
Consistency.
So there was inconsistency and I concluded that we were being fed with lies and I was consequently feeding the public with lies. I got disturbed. I got so disturbed that I was not able to sleep anymore.
So my question is, how is it that for every administration they keep selecting or appointing the wrong people to be around, the president? Because if we have the right people who are really devoted to ensure that the citizens have transparency, the citizens can speak to the president, the citizens can complain, and the president can hear them. If we have those kind of people, I believe things will get better because why is it that since 1966 till date, we've not had any administration whereby transparency was something, was something normal. Accountability is something that should be normal, but it wasn't. It has never been. So I'm wondering, who are the people that select or appoint those people who stays in the villa, inside the villa, around the president, who moves around the president, apart from the ministers that the president appoints and all that? I mean, those immediate, close people around the president, who are the people who appoint them? Because those who have been appointed, any person that is in charge of appointing those people have been doing a very bad job, a very, very bad job to Nigerians, because those people have been a stopping block to so many things in this country, to so many things in this country. And I think those people are the people that are being appointed by the cabals that are in the villa, because those people are the ones who manipulate or control people who have access to the president. who the president sees, who sees the president, who comes to visit the president, who the president can invite. So, I mean, so I'm just wondering who are the people that appoint those people? Who are the people that appoint the officers or the personnel around the president in the villa? Who are the persons? Or what office, what arm of government, what organization, is in charge of that? That's what I want to know. If you have any opinions, or if you know the answer, drop it in the comment sections. I'll be there, to check.
At a stage, I decided to travel, took my leave for the first time, hoping that by the time I came back from my leave, these things would be sorted out. But by the time I came back, it was still on. That was when, after the last council meeting, when the former Attorney General took over my job, and my face gave me out because I was in shock. I was looking at him in shock. And our journalists are fantastic. They took that photograph and showed it in front of one of the newspapers, how I was looking at him in shock as he was making that report. And I actually told everybody around me that that was the last day I would appear publicly to tell a story that I had confirmed that was a lie. And a day before that council, I had started thinking of what to do. But before that day before council, I went to 3 ministers. One of them, I went to his house because of his age. And when I came to his house, I saw Dr. Kalu Idike-Kalu. I called Dr. Kalu Idike-Kalu, the former Minister of Finance. I said, my brother, this is why I have come here. I would want you to join your voice to mine if you can. Our democracy is collapsing. I want to speak to this man. I've spoken to 2 ministers. They don't want to help. But I think for the age of this man, he's not looking for money. He's not looking for anything. He should be able to join me. I want some people to join me. I don't want to do it alone. Dr. Kalu Idike-Kalu was so excited. He said, go ahead. Whatever you do, I support you. I called the man, talked to him. He said he was not ready to join me in saying anything. I should just leave it. I called the minister out from the church immediately after a mass. I said, Honorable Minister, we have to do something. Our democracy is collapsing. People died over the years for us to get the democracy we are enjoying. If it collapses, those of us that feel that we have to keep our job, we still lose this job. The minister said I should just leave him. This thing is too delicate. If the man comes back, I called the minister, the third. That one said he was coming to my office. I said, listen, I want us to come together. He said, no, Yaradua did so much for me. I can't afford to fight him. I said, we are not fighting Yaradua. A man is ill. It is not a crime to be ill. It's just that we want the vice president to become acting president. The system is getting derailed. Look at the story. He cannot send troops to Jos. He cannot do this. He cannot sign this. That's why they told so many lies. Anyway, he said he was never going to join me in the process. So I decided to go solo. I wrote, after those 3 people, I stopped meeting anybody. After writing that memo, I called my SA. Mr. Bumba, to my house in the morning. I said, Ron. He said, what is going on? Are you not going to council? I said, you must be here before 8:30. He came, he read it. After reading it, he said, Mommy, this is suicidal. You can't do this. I said, why shouldn't I do it? If I die, I die. He said, but our job is on the line. I said, if our democracy collapses, you will still lose your job. So I went and presented it that morning, and after I distributed the papers, some of them read it quickly. The secretary to government said, no, retrieve these papers. Some people started abusing me. The highest voice was that of the Attorney General, and it went on and on. I was so harassed that I forgot my council papers and box in that council chambers and left. I came back to collect them. Anyway, my husband was also upset when he heard it. He called me I said, why did you do this? Why did you do this? You suffered too much in NAFDAC. You didn't do. And I said to my husband, yes, I didn't tell you, I'm sorry. Because I know that if I told you, you would not agree. If Abraham had told Sarah he was going to sacrifice Isaac, Sarah would not have allowed him leave the house. So it's like a hard reply for everybody. And I have no regret. I know I am still suffering from that because too many people are still angry with me. But honestly speaking,
do you feel vindicated, kind of?
I feel vindicated because immediately after that memo issue, it triggered a spiral response from everywhere. National Assembly, these groups and that groups, and eventually our president became acting president, became president, and is still president. What is important is that our democracy was stabilized. And I was not out to fight President Yaradua. In fact, President Yaradua, if he saw me some meters away, even as a president, he would shout, my sister, how are my sister? So we were close enough. I was even closer to the wife. So it was not a personal fight. It was like I was Minister of Information. I found myself in an awkward position. I was the person that would relay the lies to the public. And I got to a point where I said I would no longer do that.
Madam.
And I
Not so many politicians in Nigeria, actually look out for the well-being of the citizens. Not every politician in Nigeria that are elected or appointed think of what the citizens, are going through. None of them want to take that responsibility. They are all just concerned about what the president will say about them, what the president will think about them, what the president knows about them. That's all the only thing they think about, because godfatherism is something that they cherish so much. But she on this other side is doing something totally different that most politicians cannot do. They no fit try am, no politician fit try himself. With this new administration wey we dey, this Tinubu administration, no politician fit try am. Any politician try this kind of nonsense wey any politician try himself, that politician don't lose the position. I mean, we can all see for ourselves what happened in Port Harcourt, in Rivers. I mean, where an elected governor was suspended by the president. This is the things. These are the qualities that Nigerians deserve from every politicians that are elected or appointed. Nothing much. People who are looking after the well-being of the nation, not just for their own stomach or for their own reputation, to their own close reputation of friendship with the president, just because of what they want to gain, or money that they will get, or a position that they'll be appointed. And we all can remember during that time, during that Yaradua time, when he was ill, people were complaining what was happening to the president. Nobody's acting, nobody's signing things, nobody's making any function, nobody's making anything to be functional. Excuse me, because we didn't have any president, as at the time, who could give instructions. Meanwhile, we had a vice president who was just dormant, and she was the one who actually led the fight, that push for Goodluck to become the acting president. As at that time, kudos to her. She did great. She did absolutely great.
Was relieved after that memo. I was able to sleep again.
Yes. Looking at this action, how would you say people should approach public office? Should their loyalty be to the nation, or their loyalty and to their oath of office, or their loyalty to their so-called godfather or whoever?
You see, public service is a call. It's a call service in a special way, especially in a population like ours, where you have millions of people and you're selected among the few to pilot the affairs of government. You should see it as sacred. Loyalty should be to your boss, yes, when he asks you to do what is correct. I can also be stubborn. If I'm asked to do what is wrong, I will not do it. But greater loyalty should be to the country, because it is to the country that you swore the day you were being sworn in. And it is loyalty to the country that will bring about common good for majority of our people. So I believe I had loyalty to my boss, but I had greater loyalty to the country. And that's what it should be.
Now,
So if you, I want question to you, if you are a politician, where does your loyalty lies? Does it lie to the hands of your godfathers who put you in that position, or to Nigerians? Drop your answer in the comment section and tell me why. Does your, you know, loyalty lie to the Nigerian citizens, or does it lie on your godfather who put you in that position? I mean, we can see that almost every politician right now, their loyalty lies to the president, not to the Nigerian citizens. And that is the reason why they all can chant on your mandate, Bola on your mandate, Bola on your mandate, we shall stand, but not on the mandate of the Nigerian citizens. So there is nothing that they will do that is going to be in favor of Nigerians in this administration. Nothing. If they do anything like 40%, it should be like 0.004% that will be for Nigerians. So mind you, be careful and be wise on those who you are supporting. Try to know their intentions, if they're actually having a great mind for Nigerians or just for the person who put them in that position. This should be the mind of every citizen in Nigeria, regardless of your parastatus, be you a military personnel or a civilian. This should be the mindset.
going back to your award in Miami, at that event, you spoke about starting a foundation in respect of the fight against fake and adulterated drugs. Tell us more about it and what you will do different.
Yeah, I want to continue the fight against fake and counterfeit medicine, but in a different way. And I want to do it for life. And I also want whatever I will do to outlive me. I have started the process of Dora Akwenye, the Foundation for Safe Medicine, but I don't want to give out what it will be now so that the counterfeiters will not start fighting it. I want them to just see it bam, and they will have nothing to do.
Now,
So I don't want to bring it out to the open now. Suffice it to say that it's in the process.
now, what are we likely going to be hearing, knowing that you are coming from Anambra?
Well, yes, I'm coming from Anambra.
And Abga.
Abga, we have issues here and there which are being sorted out by the grace of God. We are still family. We are still brothers and sisters. And by the grace of God, when these issues are sorted out, we are going to have convention, congresses, and our gubernatorial election. I'm not running for governor. Somebody else will run. Our governor, who is the leader of our party in Anambra State, has said the governor we should come from Anambra North, because Anambra North has never produced governors. It is doing thing. And once the governor has spoken and generality of the people accepted it, there will be no need for anybody from the other two zones to come out. And besides, I've always been interested in the Senate, which I would want to go back to run. And at this time around, I'm not going to start rigging to outrig anybody, but I'm going to make sure that nobody is able to rig, and that our votes are protected. Because on the day of election, thugs run out of the state.
Are you going to Senate because you are not satisfied with what is going on there, or the number of women there, or what?
No, I don't ever think of being a woman. I'm going to Senate to serve my people in a special way. I'm going to Senate to be a voice for my people, a voice for the nation. I'm going to Senate to show that in being in the Senate, one can still do a lot of things differently. And I will withhold other things until the right time to talk about them. But I know that in the Senate, I will definitely make a difference.
I've been speaking with the
Wow. That is nice, and this is really, really, really massive. This is really, really, really massive. Well, if you stayed from the beginning till now, I guess you would have enjoyed this interview just as I did, because these are qualities that we Nigerians are wanting from our politicians and we're not getting. So seeing this kind of person speaking the way she did, with her thoughts, her mindset, you would enjoy every bit of her leadership. Even the way she's narrating incidents that have happened before, and saying things that she planned to do, it's so crystal clear that you can just easily give her your trust. You know why? Because she knows what she's doing. She's not just there for herself, she's there for the citizens. Wow. I encourage every Nigerian politician to be like her, you know, and I encourage Nigerians to also watch this video till the end. Not just short. If you see the short on YouTube, ensure to go to the main video or watch it from the beginning to the end. If you see it on TikTok, if you see the short, ensure to click the link on my bio, the YouTube link on my bio. Click the link on the click the YouTube link on my bio, and it will direct you to the video. Watch the video from the beginning to the end so you can understand the reason why. Today I didn't even make much comments. I was just enjoying, the way she was speaking. I just enjoyed the way she spoke. I enjoyed the things she said. And I can tell you for sure that if she was still alive, I would have rooted for her for presidency. I swear to God. If she was still alive. But I mean, the hands of death is something that no one can prevent. It's inevitable. But I'm glad that Nigeria, as a nation, once had someone like this woman. I'm really glad. May her soul rest in perfect peace. Wow. All right, guys. That's the end of the show for today. Yeah, I'll be dropping more shots of let's say a couple of hours, and the video will be up fully. Apart from we streaming live, the video will be out fully for those who were unable to join the live stream. So stay blessed, stay sharp. Another time to make it right.